So you're not going to get any hot spots or glare. You notice you've got two switches on either side of the tube. This is the industry's first sine tube with power and color selectability in the same tube. So you can change between 100%, 75, or 50% brightness, and then you can change between 4K, 5K, or 6500K color temperature. So if the sine cabinet was built so that the tubes are kind of right up against the face of the sine, then just dial the wattage down to its lowest output to avoid any hot spotting. And if the tubes are being installed a little bit deeper into the sine cabinet than what you're used to, then just crank the wattage up all the way. On the other side, color selectability, typically your darker faced sines are going to work with usually your higher Kelvin. So whether it's going into a darker face or a neutral face sine, you're going to be able to adjust the Kelvin temperature very easily. These tubes come in lengths of 18 inches all the way up to 10 feet. And obviously the most notable characteristic of this tube is its wiring harness. So unlike your standard sine tubes, or any tubes for that matter, where the current is going from the socket through the end cap into the tube, that's not the case with the direct wire Sine Hero tube. With the direct wire Sine Hero tube, the current is traveling through the wiring harness. So there is a lead wiring harness that you would use to connect to the input power, and then each wiring harness on its end, it has a socket. So it's very easy to connect one to the other, to daisy chain. The only time you'll need to bust out a wiring nut or a Wago clip is when you're connecting that lead wiring harness to the building source power. Everything else is going to plug in. That lead wiring harness has a plug that's going to connect to the first tube, and you connect that to the next tube and the next tube. You can have up to 150 feet worth of tube on one power drum. If you need to add more than that, you just need to add a secondary power drum. So let's take a look inside the cabinet here to see how the direct wire Sine Hero tubes are actually working. So, there we go. So we're going to open up our Sine Hero direct wire sine cabinet. Isn't that thing pretty snazzy? So inside, we've got kind of what you would expect to see on a retrofit sine cabinet. So we've got the ballast right here in the raceway, and then we've got the wiring going to the sockets on the top, and we've got the wiring going to the sockets on the bottom. Now, clearly, this sine cabinet has been outfitted with our direct wire Sine Hero tube. So let's walk through how this would actually get installed. You see, these sockets are actually in pretty good shape. That's great. So we can use the existing sockets, even though there's no current traveling to the lamp from the socket. The existing sockets are still perfectly fine to use. Down here, we've got our lead. Oh, sorry, it's on this side. We've got our lead wiring harness coming in. It's connected to source power on the inside of the sine cabinet. And from here, we're just connecting the wiring harness to each subsequent wiring harness, one to the other. And again, you get up to 150 feet of tube in one power drum. So if this was a fluorescent tube cabinet and we wanted to upgrade this to LEDs, then we would have the ballast here. We would need to cut the power going into and out of the ballast. And normally for a normal sine tube installation, you would have to rewire or at least make sure the wiring is still run correctly to all the sockets. But that's not the case with this. So if we've got sockets that are in bad shape, if they're rusty and busted and no good, that's fine. We're not sending any current through the socket. So that's totally fine to remove those sockets and replace them with our mounting bracket that we'll show you here in a little bit. So for upgrading from fluorescent tubes to LEDs, the direct wire Sine Hero tube, as well as the original Sine Hero tube, they're both going to do the job really, really well. So your original Sine Hero tube, by the way, it's a type B tube. So it's ballast bypass. It's got the same fisheye lens. These are available in double-sided illumination, which you can see here, as well as single-sided. So this is an easy alternative to upgrading a fluorescent sine cabinet to LED, as is the direct wire sign tube. But where the direct wire sign tube really shines is when you've got sign fabrication, when you are building a sign cabinet. So if we take a look at this side of the sign cabinet, what you don't see anywhere is a raceway. There's no need for a raceway because there's no ballast, there's no wiring being run to the sockets. It's not necessary. So for sign fabricators, not only do they not need to build a raceway and then build a raceway cover, but they don't even need to use the sockets. So here we've got these spring-loaded metal brackets, and these are going to either weld on or they can be adhered to the sign cabinet. Because again, the current is not going through the sockets, so we can put anything in there to keep the tube stable. So these spring-loaded brackets are super easy for not only for like a new sign cabinet build like we're talking about here, but if you're an installer, and how many times have you opened up a sign cabinet and the sockets are in really bad shape and they can't be reused? Well, now you don't need to get another socket. You can just grab one of these spring-loaded metal brackets for easy install. So the direct wire sign hero tube, again, it's great for whenever you are updating or upgrading an existing sign cabinet from fluorescent to LED. But it is an absolute home run, slam dunk for sign fabricators, because once you build the cabinet, then you're just mounting some mounting brackets in it. Again, no raceway, no ballast, no sockets. It really simplifies the overall process. This is one of our most contractor friendly products that we have in our entire lineup. So it's that simple. I mean, I know we had allotted about 45 minutes for this call, and I knew it wasn't going to take this long because it's just so simple. I wish there was more to it, but it's just really a very, it's the benefit is in its simplicity, truly. So I'm going to pause right there. We're going to open it up to see if we have any questions or if there's anything that we may not have covered that we want to jump into. So if there's any questions in the chat, or if anyone has anything on their mind that they want to share, we'll pause real quick and open it up for questions here.
Okay. I'm looking, and right now we don't have any questions, so let's give some people some time to formulate. By the way, love your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we do. This is our Keystone Fun Fest. This is from a couple years ago, our company picnic. The bases, by the way, on the direct wire tube, they are the R17D high output bases that we're accustomed to seeing on sign cabinets. So again, if you're using the existing sockets, these will fit right in. And if not, again, you've got the mounting bracket. These are a separate accessory, so they're sold separately from the tubes. So it's good to have a couple of these on hand for any sign, direct wire sign tube install you may be doing.
Okay, we do have one question, or a couple questions. One is, are there any patch cables for instances that are wider apart?
There is the lead wiring harness cable, and then each tube cable has about 8 inches, so you can get about 16 inches in between the tubes. I don't believe that we have an extension cable if you have a longer gap that you're trying to bridge. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, if you want to clarify, we'll try to get you a better answer.
And what is the min-max on the depth of the cabinet?
Yeah, so typically, best practice is about 6 inches from the face of the cabinet. But some sign fabric, like sometimes they'll build them a little bit closer to the face, sometimes further away. Sometimes the sign itself is going to be more narrow, which means that it needs to be placed closer to the front of the sign. So in that case, your best bet would to take advantage of the power select functionality. So if it is too far, you can crank the wattage up. If it's too close, you can dial the wattage down so you're not getting any glares or hot spots.
Okay. Will there also be a single-sided option?
Great question. So I did not mention that the direct wire sign tube is double-sided construction only. So as of right now, it is not on the roadmap to launch this in a single-sided product. However, we do still have the single-sided original sign tubes that install through the existing sockets.
Okay. What power supply will be needed? Is it 12 volt, 24 volt, or both options?
So these are 120 volt. So these are going to work on the existing line voltage. So we're not
Okay.
using if you're thinking about tape lighting or string lighting, which is typically used in signage. We're not going with that route. That route requires a constant voltage driver, which would either be 12 or 24 VDC. These have an internal driver, so these are going to work off of the existing line voltage. No external driver or ballast required.
Awesome. All right, these are really great questions. Let's see, I've got another one. How many of these can you string together?
Yes, up to 150 feet worth of direct wire tube on one power draw.
Okay, that's good. How's the primary wire connection made?
So the lead wire harness, and I regret that I don't have a better one to show you, but I'll give you a little bit of a closer look right here and then let you know what's on the other side of it. So it's just you're just going to have your line, neutral, and ground coming on the other end of this wire that's going to connect to the building source power. So it's just your black,
Mhm.
white, and green wires coming out of the other end.
Okay. How many amps approximately would 150 feet draw?
That's a great question. It sounds like an installer and an electrician must ask that question.
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll have to follow up and get an answer on how many amps 150 feet of the sine tubes will draw. So
Okay.
we'll follow up.
Okay.
And so if I follow up with you, Peggy, I wasn't able to see
Yeah,
the question. So
that's fine.
answer we'll move
Yeah.
on to. Okay, great.
And I can get back with Joe who asked the question.
Perfect.
Sure. And what is the closest that these can be placed to the faces?
Yeah, so I mean that's a good question. It's going to depend. Um, Typically you're going to see these mounted, not quite, not all sign cabinets are universal, but 4 to 6 inches from the face of the cabinet. And then if they are mounted a little closely, you've kind of got to use the power select switch to dial the overall wattage down. But I mean, the other great thing about the direct wire sign hero tube is, let's just say that you've got the cabinet was built in a way that you have to, maybe the sockets are too close to the face of the fixture. Well, if you're able to rip the sockets out and put the metal bracket in there, and then move that back a couple inches or so from where the sockets were, and then just use the metal bracket as opposed to the socket. Otherwise, um, it's not going to be the same for every sign, unfortunately. But again, that 4 to 6 inches is usually where you would expect to see the sockets mounted in the sign. And if it's a little closer than that, you just want to dial the wattage down if you can.
Are these IP67 rated?
They are not. They are
Okay.
not IP. I'm not sure if they have even an IP65 rating.
Okay.
Since they're going into the actual cabinet, the
Hmm.
ingress protection in terms of moisture isn't as much of a concern. But I'll tell you one other hidden benefit to the direct wire sign hero tube is, again, because the current is not coming from the sockets. How many of these sign cabinets, have really poor ingress protection on their own? How many times did these let rainwater and condensation get in, and that can build up near the base, and so they can short out the sockets, which in this case is actually not a non-factor because the current again is not traveling through the socket but through the wiring harness. So I don't believe we have an IP rating on these. But that's another one that I will follow up with in addition to the amperage that 150
Yeah,
people will draw.
and I can reach out. So, can you use the metal bracket with the original Keystone tubes?
Can you use the metal bracket with the original Keystone direct wire tubes or regular Keystone?
I guess
tube?
regular Keystone. Mike, I'm not sure if you want to clarify a little bit. The ones on the wall.
Uh, on on this wall or on this wall? If you're talking about the Sign Hero tubes, you would not be able to use the metal bracket on this
Okay.
because they require the current to travel through the socket. Actually, if you've got these are available in single and double-ended wiring. So I take that back. If you're using a single-ended standard Sign Hero tube, you would be able to wire the line and neutral to one socket, and then you could actually use the bracket for the other socket because these are going to have the same R17D base that's going to fit in the socket. So yes, you actually would be an application where you would use the metal bracket in conjunction with the standard Sign Hero tube.
Okay. And are they adjustable and dialed in the socket like the old ones, like the old?
Yes, so you
I
can give
thought
them a
so.
twist. They got a
Mhm.
rotatable base, so you're always directing the light exactly where it needs to go.
Okay.
These are some great questions.
I know we've got
Nor,
such a
nor,
good group today. I'm
me
excited
too.
about that.
Normally I open up the questions at the end and it's it's just me standing there waiting for someone to speak up. So I think this is great. Do we have any more?
I'm looking and not at this time. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you did a great job going over that. Thank you
Excellent.
so much.
I hope everyone else on the call feels the same way. Hope this was helpful. If you haven't seen it yet, get your sample, get it in front of your customers. Again, the easiest install in the sign industry. First sign tube with power and color select. And again, very, very appreciative that everybody here took some time out of your day to learn more about Keystone's direct wire sign here too.
We've got one more question.
Yeah.
What's the space allowance needed for the bracket?
So it is spring loaded. Let me see if I can switch this around here. Sorry about that. Um, so it is going to be spring loaded. So if we go on the other side here,
Mhm.
you can see we've got about 1 3/4, maybe 2 inches. It's where it's actually going to install. But if this top space here was lower, and if we had to mount the bracket lower, then we would the spring loaded clips would just adjust. So you do have a good bit of wiggle room, but it's going to measure in about 1 3/4 to 2 inches long there.
Okay. Great. And now you're back. All right. Well, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions, and it seems like we've gotten just a lot of different, really good questions, good solid ones. And thank you guys so much for doing this for us. And thank you to our customers for joining. And we really appreciate it.
Yes, so do we. Again, appreciate all the questions. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.
All right. How do we get the sample? So you can get the sample either by going to Glance's website and clicking on any Keystone product. There is a place there where you can get samples, or you can go to Keystone's website and they also have a free sample. So either way, there's a form on either of our websites, either inglance.com or keystonetechnologies.com. And there's a sample form there.
Yeah, it's a very complicated sample policy. Basically, you tell us what product you want, and we send it to you.
That sounds complicated. Yes, you guys are great with samples. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right, everyone have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.